Welcome to the world of English exams. So, I'm quite excited to share the news with you that Cambridge Ielts 15 academic version is out now. And here I am back with another video. We are going to start a series of videos in which I'm going to solve the reading tests that are seen in Cambridge Ielts 15 academic version. So, each reading test would be divided into three parts. So if you're a subscriber to our YouTube channel, you might have known this fact because we have done the similar kinds of solved reading test videos from Cambridge IELTS 14, 13 and such other versions. So if you haven't watched those videos, you can find them in our channel's playlist. So don't forget to watch them as well to understand how to answer each and every question. I'm going to answer them question by question because it helps you to understand how to locate the answers and how to understand why that particular answer is right for that particular question. So what are we waiting for? In this part of the video, we are going to solve two main question types, that is fill in the blanks and true, false, not given. So fill in the blanks, as I understand, is very easy for most of you. However, there are some students who are still encountering problems with this question type. Maybe by watching this video, it might help you to understand this question type better. And of course, true, false, not given is actually a confusing question type for most of the students out there. So let me help you answer these questions. So let's get started with the first four questions in this reading test that belong to note completion question type. You can clearly see the instructions, complete the notes below. So this is an indication that you need to read the passage and fill in the gaps. What is the most important aspect is that you need to read this small phrase, that is, this is known as the word instruction. Very important to note this, guys, because if you do not pay attention to this and if you write the answer in more than a single word, because there is a restriction, there is a limit here that each answer should be written in the form of a single word. So if you do not follow this and if you, let's say, write the answer as a two-word answer, then automatically it is considered to be an error. So I request you to pay attention to this tiny detail every single time you sit to solve a reading test. So the title of the passage says the nutmeg tree and fruit. So, and of course, what you should remember is that for fill in the blanks, the answers will come in an order. That is, they will follow a sequence in the passage. So you don't need to start reading from the beginning every single time you solve fill in the blanks. If you can get the answer for the first question, rest is guaranteed that the answers are usually in a sequence. So let's keep these things in mind and start answering the questions. Please remember that here the word limit is one word only. So let's try to predict what the answer could be by reading the question. The leaves of the tree are dash in shape. So clearly we are looking to find the shape of the leaves. Quite simple and straightforward. The next question says the dash surrounds the fruit. So surrounds could be given as maybe covers or something like that. So you should not expect to find the exact words as given in the question. You should expect paraphrases or synonyms of these words. So the dash surrounds the fruit and breaks open when the fruit is ripe. So as long as the fruit is raw or unripe, there is a layer called something which we need to find out, and that layer surrounds the fruit. But when the fruit ripens, this layer breaks open. So what's that? We have to find. Next, the dash is used to produce the spice nutmeg. So again, the part whatever is used to produce this spice, that is what we need to find. The dash is used to produce the spice nutmeg. So which part of the tree is used to produce the spice? That is what is the question. Finally, the covering known as the aril. So there is a covering that is called aril, is used to produce dash. So aril is used in the production of What? So that is the question. So the first one is the shape of the leaves. The second one is the layer that surrounds the fruit. The third one is the part of the tree that's used to produce the spice. And the fourth one is the product, what is produced by using aril. So now that we have understood the questions, let's start reading the passage. The title says Nutmeg, a valuable spice. Let's start reading. The nutmeg tree, which is known as Myristica fragrans, is a large evergreen tree native to Southeast Asia. Okay, so far what we are looking at is the shape of the leaves. So let's start finding that. Until the late 18th century, it only grew in one place of the world, a small group of islands in the Banda Sea, part of the Moluccas or the Spice Islands in northeastern Indonesia. Nothing about the leaves as such. So the tree is thickly branched with dense foliage. Foliage is another term for leaves. Please remember that. So the tree is thickly branched with dense foliage of tough, dark green, oval leaves. So clearly the answer for the first question is oval. The shape of the leaves is oval. So let's continue reading. The next question will follow this. The answer would follow. So something that surrounds the fruit, that is what we are looking at. So, and produces small yellow bell-shaped flowers and pale yellow pear-shaped fruits. The fruit is encased. So you know the meaning of case, right? Something like a box, something a kind of enclosure, I must say. So encased is a synonym for surrounded. So this is how you have to learn new words, guys. So if you are new to this word, if you don't know this word, please feel free to pause the video here, make a note of such words and find the related synonyms and try using them when you're writing your essay or letters, so that you can definitely improve your score for lexical resource or vocabulary. Now let's continue. The fruit is encased in a fleshy husk. So what's the layer called? It's a husk. Now if you see, the next sentence says, when the fruit is ripe, this husk splits. Splits is a synonym for break into two halves. So basically the answer is a fleshy husk. However, when you look at the word limit, it says one word only. That's the reason you need to write the answer as husk. Now proceeding to the next question. The dash is used to produce the spice nutmeg. Okay, so inside is a purple brown shiny seed, 2 to 3 centimeters along by about 2 centimeters across, surrounded by a lacy red or crimson covering called an aril. These are the sources. These. Now this is a tricky sentence, so please pay attention to this particular sentence. Here there is a plural term called these. So it's referring to two things. The first one is the seed and the second one is the lacy red or crimson covering called an aril. So the first one is seed, the second one is aril. These are the sources of the two spices nutmeg and mace. See, the answers for the next two questions follow an order like this. The former means the first one. The former being produced from the dried seed. So nutmeg is produced from dried seed. And the later, what is the later? The second one, that is mace. So mace is produced from the aril. So the answer for the third blank is the seed. The seed is used to produce the spice nutmeg and aril is used to produce mace. So this is how proper reading will always fetch the right answers. So I hope you understood how to fill the notes, how to complete the gaps, and here is the answer key for these 4 questions. Now quickly let's proceed to answering the next set of questions in this reading test that belong to the question type true, false, not given. Let me briefly explain what is meant by true, false, not given, so that we can proceed with answering these questions with confidence. So you give the answer for a question or a statement as true when the meaning matches perfectly. That is, there is 100% meaning match. Then you give the answer as true. If the meaning is contradictory or opposite, then the answer is false. And if the passage does not discuss any related context related to the statement, then the answer is not given. That is, it's not found. Nothing about the sentence or the statement is being discussed in the passage. Then the answer is not given. So please read the instructions properly so that you will understand this basic concept, and this will help you answer true, false, not given. Now, unlike the earlier set of questions where I showed you all the questions at once and we proceeded to reading the passage, but here we are not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to divide it into single questions, that is statement by statement, and we are going to read the related context. Now this will help you to master true, false, not given. You'll understand why a particular statement is regarded as true and why the another statement could be false or not given, whatever, depending on the statement. Now let's start reading this. By the way, you should remember that the answers for true, false, not given will follow a sequence too, just like fill in the blanks. This is to be noted. Now let's start reading the fifth statement. So, in the Middle Ages, now this is a very important concept. Here we are not discussing about other periods of time, but we are restricting ourselves to discussing about Middle Ages only. So, in the Middle Ages, most Europeans, so most means majority, not 100%. So most Europeans knew is the past tense of know, knew where nutmeg was grown. So Europeans were aware of the place, the location where nutmeg was grown or produced. So this is what the statement says. In the Middle Ages, most of the Europeans were aware of the location where nutmeg was grown. Now let's start reading it. Please don't go with the words, because nutmeg is something that would be found in multiple places around the passage. So don't get confused by that. Go with the meaning. I hope you understood the statement. Now when you read the paragraph, you will be able to locate the answer. Nutmeg was a highly prized and costly ingredient in European cuisine in the Middle Ages. Though the keywords match, the meaning is not yet revealed. So they are just telling that it is a costly ingredient in European cuisine in the Middle Ages. Nothing about the location. And was used as a flavoring, medicinal and preservative agent. Throughout this period refers to Middle Ages, because it's already discussed. So now this is a referencing word. Throughout this period, the Arabs were the exclusive importers of the spice to Europe. So Europe imported this spice from the Arabs. They refers to Arabs. They sold the nutmeg for high prices to merchants based in Venice, but they never revealed the exact location of this source, of this extremely valuable commodity. So did the Arabs reveal the source to the Europeans? No, they never revealed. So, but in the statement it says the Europeans knew. That means they were aware. They knew the location. But in the passage, it contradicts that. They were never aware of the location. So, what is the answer? It is false, as the meaning is opposite or contradictory. I hope you are clear with this. If you happen to have any doubts, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. I'll get back to you with the explanation. So let's proceed to the next question. The next statement says the VOC. So what is VOC? Should be read in the passage, but this is a term that could be used as an indicator or an identifier. The VOC was the world's first major trading company. So VOC, as you understood by now, is a trading company, but we need to find whether it is the world's first major trading company or not. So let's look at it. In 1962, Dutch merchants founded the VOC, a trading corporation a trading corporation better known as the Dutch East India Company. Okay, so far they revealed that in 1962 the VOC was founded by the Dutch merchants and the other name for that is Dutch East India Company. Then by 1617, the VOC was the richest commercial operation in the world. It does not say it's the first major trading company, but it only mentions it is the richest commercial operation. The company had 50,000 employees worldwide with a private army of 30,000 men and a fleet of 200 ships. At the same time, thousands of people across Europe were dying of a plague, a highly contagious and deadly disease. So is it mentioning that it is the first major trading corporation? No, you can't go with the year because we do not have an idea of what happened prior to 1602. There could be other trading corporations as well, right? So it does not mention what happened before 1602, but after 1602, it became the richest commercial operation. Since the information is not given completely, the answer is not given because it's missing. The context does not mention anything related to the first major trading company. It does not say that it's a pioneer or it's established first or something like that. So let's proceed to the next statement. Following the Treaty of Breda means after that. So following the Treaty of Breda, the Dutch had control, that means power, of all the islands where nutmeg grew. That means it had whole and sole authority or something like a monopoly. So the Dutch had full control of all the islands where nutmeg was cultivated. So let's look at this term Treaty of Breda. So let's quickly skim. There was only one obstacle to Dutch domination. One of the Banda Islands, a sliver of land called Run, only 3 kilometers long by less than 1 kilometer wide, was under the control of the British. After decades of fighting for control of this tiny island, the Dutch and the British arrived at a compromise settlement, the Treaty of Breda in 1667. So this is how you need to identify that. So we now have to check what happened after this Treaty of Breda. So we are now looking at the last sentence. The other island was Manhattan, which is how New Amsterdam became New York. The Dutch now had monopoly over the nutmeg trade. So basically it's starting with a valuable island of Run, then it's talked about island of North America, then it talked about Amsterdam, and finally it said Dutch had the monopoly, means complete control over nutmeg trade, which would last for another century. So for the next 100 years, the Dutch completely had the monopoly. That's the reason the answer is true. I hope you understood how to answer true, false, not given questions. Now quickly let's proceed to the next set of questions, that is table completion. Now just like the note completion questions, here you need to worry about the word limit only, which is one word only. That is, all the answers have to be written as a single word answer. So for table completion questions, you can blindly follow the hints that are given in the form of numbers here. You can see the years. So Middle Ages, 16th century, 17th century, late 18th century. Now these are our keywords. So if you can read them properly, you need not read the entire comprehension passage. You'll get an idea where exactly to locate the answers. So the first one says Middle Ages. Nutmeg was brought to Europe by the dash. So who introduced the nutmeg to Europe? So we already know the answer for this, but let's look at the passage. So here it says, Nutmeg was a highly prized and costly ingredient in European cuisine in the Middle Ages and was used as a flavoring and medicinal preservative agent. Throughout this period, Arabs were the importers of this spice to Europe. So, who introduced the spice to Europe? It was the Arabs. So, what's the first answer? Arabs. Are you able to understand how easy it is to answer once you know? So let's see. So this is the follow-up passage which we need to read. So let's look at the next set of questions. So 16th century. So you don't need to read that because it's already given to you. Now let's proceed to the 17th century. What happened in the 17th century? Demand for nutmeg grew as it was believed to be effective against a disease known as dash. So it was used to treat, it was effective against a disease which is called dash. Now let's look at what the name of the disease was, but before that let's see how to find the answer. So here when you quickly skim, you are able to see the year 1512, but we are looking at 17th century. We want to find something related to 17th century. Let's read. Here, if you skim, you are able to see 1580. So, here you can find 16th century. So, we don't need to read all this. So, here it says 1602, 1617. So, now I think it's going to be here. Yeah, so at the same time, thousands of people across Europe were dying of the plague, a highly contagious and deadly disease. Doctors were desperate for the way to stop the spread of this disease, and they decided that nutmeg held the cure. So, nutmeg was effective against a disease known as plague. So, that's the answer. Now, let's proceed to the next question. In the same time period, what happened? The Dutch took control of the Banda Islands. Then they restricted the nutmeg production to a few areas. Okay. Then put dash on nutmeg to avoid it being cultivated outside the island. So they added something onto the nutmeg to avoid it to be cultivated outside the island. That means that agent, whatever the substance that they added, prevented nutmeg from growing. So what is that we need to find? So let's see. So we were reading this passage. Okay, nothing about prevention. I'm just skimming it very fast. So Banda Islands, yes, they allowed them to, okay, nothing about the substance that was added to prevent the cultivation. That is what I'm trying to focus. Here, in addition, all exported nutmeg was covered with lime to make sure that there was no chance a fertile seed which could be grown elsewhere would leave the island. So, covered with is nothing but it's coated with. Something was added. So, what is that substance? Lime. So, what is the answer for this? Lime. Have you understood how easy it is to skim? So, this is one of the most effective techniques. Next, finally obtained the island of Dash from the British. So, Dutch people were able to obtain the island of Dash from the British. So, originally it's a Britain island in Britain. So, that was taken over by the Dutch. So, what is that we need to find? See, here you are able to see the term British would give them the island of Run. So, what is the name of the island? Run. See how simple and easy it is, guys. If you know how to find it, you can find it. Now, next, late 18th century, particularly in the year 1770, nutmeg plants were secretly taken to Dash, to some place. That is what we are looking at. And then 1778. So let's quickly find 1770. Yeah, 1770. A Frenchman named Prairie Power successfully smuggled the nutmeg plants to safety in Mauritius. So the answer for the 12th question is Mauritius. Now last one, 1778. Half of Banda's Island's nutmeg plantations were destroyed by a dash. So there is a calamity due to which nutmeg production, maybe all the plants were destroyed. So let's see. In 1778, a volcanic eruption in the Banda region caused a tsunami that wiped out half of the nutmeg groves. So here the answer is tsunami for the 13th question. I hope you understood how to answer, how to complete the table if you can follow the hints. Otherwise, unnecessarily you will be reading the entire passage. So here is the answer key, and this completes our session. The first 13 questions, that is the first reading passage of Cambridge IELTS 15 academic version, is successfully answered. In case you have any doubt, please do not hesitate to leave a comment, guys. And I hope you found this video useful. If yes, please like the video, share it with your friends, and do subscribe to our channel World of English Exams. So till I see you with the next part of the video, happy preparation, guys.